Here's what's going to happen. And here are the lessons. Number one, Pam Bondi, toast. Finished, through. And what I'm about to say has nothing about whether I like them, whether I think they did a good job, whether I know them, whether they deserve this. It's not it. I'm reading the x-ray. I'm reading the pathology report. I'm declaring the patient dead or pregnant, depending upon your perspective. Pam Bondi's gone. Pam Bondi cannot possibly stay on. She has no respect left. No, I mean, she's through. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself and in front of the skis, as they say. From the beginning, it was and she was the worst choice possible for this job. Not that she's not a good lawyer or a good Florida Attorney General or maybe a good DOJ official, or she, among others, and we'll get to that later on, never was correct. Never. There's this weakness wolf, so to speak, or woof, as some people say. It moves about. It lurks. It says, who is my next victim? Who is the one I'm gonna? You'll do, Pam. She had the look of weakness. She had, and I'm going to say this, it's not sexist. It's a sexism that points out weakness. When you come across and look like someone who is more interested in the appearance of pretend toughness than is tough, you're going to be targeted. Kristi Noem's the second one involved. Kristi Noem's better watch it. I mean, absolutely better watch this, because I see it so perfectly in her. She's playing this whole Barbie doll thing, and this just doesn't work. So anyway, so Pam Bondi, from the beginning, because women hated her, loathed her, Pam Bondi, and it goes down the list. I mean, you could see it. She also showed a tendency, a propensity, dare I say, a penchant to love the Fox News camera. Maybe deep down inside, because I always think the long arc of people ultimately is that, how do I parlay this afterwards? My goal is not to be, the next Bill Barr or something, because her trajectory was not going to be some corner office in a big white shoe law firm. No. Everybody knew this. They sued immediately. Saw it, rather. Interesting. They saw it. And this is also one of Trump's his shortcomings. He picks people that he thinks are cute, pretty, hot, popular, handsome, the cool kids. We'll go down the list with that one, all right? So Bondi, let's just understand. Does she leave Monday? She will step down, and there'll be some interim AG. She'll fall on her sword. She will claim that she is doing it for the betterment of the country. She's not going to let any internal problem, shortcoming, or the contretemps get in the way of her legacy of doing the nation's duty, whatever it is. I mean, it's already written out for her. It's done. I mean, they're already there. She's taking stuff off the walls as we speak. It was one of the most ridiculous fits ever. Again, not in any way a statement against her, but she didn't have that vile, predatory look or what's the word, that countenance that she needs for this. Okay, that's that. Now, she's gone. And while we're at it, now I don't know who's responsible for this. I don't know who, if it's Trump. Trump, ultimately, this is all his doing. Trump Hey, we all love Trump. Yay! We love Trump, okay? Let me get that out of the way. We all have to say that. That's become the version of the kind of the Seinfeld, gay people, and not that there's anything wrong with it, Trump, but I love Trump. I think he's great. I don't have to explain my bona fides anyplace. He wanted this. He's the president. He's my president. He's brutal. He calls it the way it is. We love it. I'm going to call it the way it is. There are some things he does that are just mindless, absolutely mindless. You're wondering, what are you thinking? What possibly are you? How in the world did you ever think this? Anyway, that's who he is. Like him, love him. That's our guy. That's our feller. Okay. That notwithstanding. This was something that is the proverbial Gordian knot. It was there the whole time. Epstein was like a dormant tumor, a dormant prostate cancer, a dormant, very powerfully, seriously dangerous, festering tumor. Some huge, potentially metastatic stage 4 neoplastic thing just sitting there. And it was in dormancy for whatever reason, either because the people didn't know about it, it was going away, the patient was getting older and we didn't care, we're moving on. Who knows? It was there, but it was always under the surface, because everybody knew that there's one thing about MAGA and our folks and the conspiratorium: we hate anything involving sexual predation, SA, and children. Even the hint of children, even the slightest insinuation of children in any respect. And the Paris case with Brunel, that's what it was. But remember, Epstein is a bunch of cases. But let me go back. So it was there, waiting for something to awaken the sleeping giant, so to speak. It was there waiting. Well, this was it. And it started by either Pam Bondi bringing it up again, claiming she was going to address it, doing that binder gate. We always put a gate on everything. The day that the influencers, who was it? Cat Turd, DC Drano, Libs of TikToks, whoever. They were at the White House and they go, goodbye. And they were getting their swag bag. And here's a calendar. And here's a pen. And they're, thank you. And on their way out, they, hold it, come here. Hey, Pam Bondi. By the way, take a binder. You've got a binder in. You've got a binder in. What is this binder? This is all of the files, the Epstein files. These are the files. Well, they're not the files. They're more like chapter headings. What? Well, they're not really. It's a binder. We went to Kinko's and we got a special one. We put an official thing. Anyway, it looks good, though, doesn't it? It looks great. It's like the Warren Commission. Worthless. They wasted more trees on the Warren Commission. It was nothing. That's what this is. What is it? Still don't know what it is. What the hell's in the binder? Well, I don't know. Why'd you do that? I don't know. Who ordered this? I don't know. Pam takes the heat. Who was the genius who said, let's take one of the biggest controversies ever and reduce it to this stupidity, whatever this thing is? What is this? Don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. Okay. Well, thanks. Now the tumor, it's acting up. It was a blast of testosterone or human growth hormone or steroids, or which a lot of men stupidly do, where they decide, hey, I'm gonna get strut in my old age. I'm gonna take hormones. I'm gonna take steroids. You idiot! You're gonna activate a tumor. Well, this tumor is trying to get activated again, and it was dormant. It was in remission. It was okay. I mean, people kind of forgot it. Not anymore. Because it was absurd. And then she started talking. And then, to be brutally brutal, she sounded more and more like the like the rehearsed little girl, like the poser, like the... Remember that woman years ago? She was a Miss South Carolina or something. She says, and the United States of Americas, we don't have maps. It was John Stamos or somebody. It was a Miss something pageant. And they asked her a question, why don't people know about countries? And she said, because we don't have maps. Anyway, it was this Barbie kind of a, whatever it was, it was reduced to this babbling and became a meme. And that's what this was. It became a thing. People said, hey, it's just like all of a sudden, Kash, bless his heart, Kash has been, he can't affect his eyes, but it didn't bother anybody. Then all of a sudden, it looks like, what is this? He looks like he's always scared. It's like, did we always notice that? I don't know. He just looked frightened. We'll get to Kash in a moment. So anyway, she comes out, and now she's looking more and more stupid. More and more out of control. More and more almost deranged in her, whatever this thing was. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's like, what is this all about? Dear, whoa, Pam, whoa, who are you? And then she said, I've got it. I get most of this self-inflicted own goal stuff. Then she says, I've got it on my desk. I've got the list here. It's on my desk. Thousands of the most, I'm getting my sequencing wrong. Thousands of the most horrible children, self-sacrifice. Oh, I'm surprised she didn't mention Bohemian Grove or Eyes Wide Shut or Mephistopheles or Satanic. I mean, it's like, you're making it worse. And then she says, don't you understand? And I've got these, and we're not going to talk about it at all. Wait a minute. Hold it. What do you mean you're not? Wait a minute. It's worse than we thought. We thought it was bad. Maybe we forgot it. Maybe we heard this and didn't know it. But wait a minute. This is worse now. And what everybody saw her was covering her ass by saying, when I didn't say it was on my desk, I said it was on my desk. And I didn't say it wasn't really a desk. It was more like a card table. It was actually my lap. Well, it was a laptop. It didn't have a desk. And it's not really a desk. That's an expression. And there was no it. I didn't have it. There weren't files. I didn't mean files. I meant, anyway, that's it. And that was her thing. And to make it worse, Trump comes up with this butte. Are you people still talking about Epstein? You goddamn right we're talking about Epstein. What? What do you mean? Are we still... What? Does this annoy you? Does this Is this a source of perturbation? Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind if we talk about a case which means a lot to us. Excuse me. What? He made it sound like, what's with these people in this Epstein business? I don't know. And it got worse. It got worse. And it was an own goal. It was a, what do you call it? Self-inflicted, unearned error. I mean, what was this? And we're thinking, wait a minute. Do you have the files? Did you ever have the files? What are the files? What do you mean by the files? Let's see the files. What have you done? And then, again, like that tumor that was there, that all of a sudden now is being given a new life. They're saying, wait a minute. Hold it. What about that case in Florida? And who were those people again? And who were the folks who agreed to a non-participation agreement or a non-prosecution agreement? And what about Ghislaine? And Ghislaine. Oh, Ghislaine, be careful. Oh, man. How much do you want to bet she's been transferred out of the prison system for her own good? How much do you want to bet? Okay? You want to be some crazy bet? How much you want to bet she's out of the country? How much do you want to bet for some crazy reason in the middle of the night? I'm crazy. I'm wacky. People are realizing, Ghislaine, this is too hot for you. We got to get you out of here. I mean, nobody even cared about you. She's just doing her time to protect your family and collect on those Cayman Island funds that tucked away to buy her silence. They may say, this is it, because people are asking, wait a minute, why is she in prison now? Why is she here? You see how the tumor's now flaring. This thing that was contained, people are now worried about her. People are always they're even asking the question, what about her? What about her? Nobody gave a damn about her. But it wasn't because people cared about her. It's because the height of hypocrisy and lunacy and insanity that we're seeing right now. That's what this is. That's what this is. It's incredible. It's incredible. All this started from Pam bringing this up. And if my recollection, dear friend, serves me, please forgive me in terms of the sequencing. I don't know how I may have this wrong. But it seems like they brought it up twice or threw it out every now and then. Oh, yeah, we got the JFK files. What? Oh, yeah, and the RFK files, and Judge Crater, and who let the dogs out. I mean, they were like saying, hey, we're here. Because the first part of everybody taking office is to show you who they are. Remember Pete Hegseth? Hey, I'm doing PT with my boys. Hey, let me give you a tour of the Department of Defense, like they just opened it. Hey, this is my office. Hey, isn't this cool? This is my plane. Hey, look at me. From weekends on Fox News to the DOD. He better watch you too. We'll get to him later. But Pam was into that whole thing. And then she was on, and then she even said the other day, it all started when I was on Fox News. Why are you on Fox News? Why are you on Fox News? Why? If I was DOJ, if I was Attorney General, you wouldn't see me. You'd say, what happened to him? Remember Merrick Garland? He got into more, he didn't even do, well, they wrote things for him. You'd never see me unless I'm announcing an indictment, which is what they do now. They still don't get it. You know these two investigations going on with Comey and with Comey and Brennan? Why are you announcing it? Just indict them and then announce the arrest. Don't tip people off. Don't follow through with another thing like, drain the swamp and build a wall and lock her up. You never locked Hillary up. Why'd you tell people that? They do that. Never show your hand. You don't have a tell. You announce it. Look, give my cards. What are you doing? That's over here. Continuing with this. The tumor's festering. So Pam is out. And now Trump's thinking, oh, for Christ's sake. Now here's the subject that shall not be mentioned, about should not be named. Israel. Some are suggesting the people who really own the president are calling him up and saying, Donald, how did this happen, Donald? I don't know, sir. And you can do the math on who the sir is. They're talking about Ehud Barak again, Donald. They're talking about us. They're making the Israel connection, Donald. They're making the Israel connection, Donald. How did this happen, Donald? How did this happen, Donald? How did you let this happen? They're talking about it. They're talking about Les Wexner. They're talking about Brunel again. Brunel and his... Remember him? Remember him in the cell? The French. See, it's the French. That's where it is. See, this is three-card Monty. You're looking over here. You're looking at the ace over here. Oh, no. It's over here. The ace he's palming it. That's the card. It's beyond anything I've ever seen before. Now people are saying, see, one thing I've learned, my friend, is that Americans are not good students, so they don't really study this. They really don't study this. They think they know it. And up till now, there were charges of children, but not really. Virginia Giuffre. Oh, speaking of which, not one person Not one person wants to know how the main witness was assassinated, and nobody's bringing it up. Virginia Giuffre, and how she was, before her death, telling everybody, I can't wait, I'm building onto my house, my kids, my new life in Australia. Everybody, people that I know who talked to her, and I mean, my good friend Sean Atwood knew her very well. I mean, it's just, I'm hearing all this up, and then all of a sudden, and nobody, not so much as a police report, an investigation, the word was, don't go near her. This is how deep this goes. Back to the White House. Donald, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about this, Donald? They're talking about us, Donald. They're talking about us, Donald. What are you going to do? I'm going to. You know what you got to do, Donald. I know. I got to. Donald, why did you open your mouth? And guess who's happens to be coming back to Washington again? His handler, his minder, baby, who's saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And by the way, one question that nobody's ever asked, let me rephrase it. I'm sure they've asked it, but I haven't heard it. You know what's interesting about this whole thing? They have these brilliant people out there giving their analyses and all this stuff, and I appreciate that. They have these analyses. But one of the things they don't talk about is, because everybody loves to think it's Mossad. It's Mossad. Mossad, because we love Mossad. I think Amman is better, the military intelligence, but that's, no, you're not going to hear them. You will. I think they carry the weight. But Mossad is like, that's the People magazine intel. That's the front and center. That's that collective, that's become the Israeli version of deep state or something. That's what you use collectively to refer to all clandestine intel. All right. But anyway, do you think for 1 minute, and listen to me carefully, remember, we love him. Do you think that Mossad, if they indeed were involved in this, would have allowed years and years and years of compilation tapes, recordings, thumb drives, hard drives, external hard drives, floppies, you name it. Not a lot of floppy there, but do you think for a moment that they would have allowed these items to have collected over the years? When Pamela, Joe, and others reported these, how many terabytes of information, case after 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 case of files labeled and marked and this. Do you think Mossad or any intel agency worth a damn would have allowed there to be any kind of any kind of an accumulation of files over time that would have allowed them to be sitting there for years, where when the FBI came in and they said, "Hey, look at this, 20 years ago. Whoa, look at this. Hey, it's a mini disc. We haven't seen one of these in a long time." They would have collected them every week, as soon as they're done. Some agent or somebody would have said, "Thank you." If it's a honey trap, if it's some form of, I guess you'd call it some horrible blackmail ring or something, it would not have allowed this to accumulate over all those years. Just think about that. Just put that aside. Let's go back to the tumor. The tumor's growing. The tumor's festering. Now, let's move on to Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino Boom. I'm trying to make, I don't even know what I was trying to do right now. This, Dan Bongino is going to say, I never had to get my hands dirty. I never had to do anything. I am the shortest-lived assistant. By the way, that was so stupid. If Kash Patel has Dan Bongino, who is just far more eloquent, far more ready for prime time than you are, far tougher in terms of affect and the like, this is your number 2 guy. Does the name Vivek Ramaswamy come to mind? Remember that one? He's not even anywhere. You're going to be number 2 to Elon? I don't think so. Well, I think in retrospect, don't be surprised if Dan didn't even almost, not predict this, but he had this as his trump card, no pun intended. Dan Bongino was going to say, I'm going to have to step down because I'm a man of valor. I can't lie to the American people. And then he goes back, and Joe Rogan, you've met your mask. Well, literally, well, figuratively, I should say. He is going to be the darling of everything. Podcasting, his own show, personal appearances, endorsements. He is going to be the darling. The darling. The guy who fell on his sword. A man whose integrity, because there's one thing that our people love more than anything else, and that's truth. He spoke truth. Right? Right? That's exactly right. He spoke truth. He spoke truth. Yep. And he walks away and he says, I'm not going to say anything. Those are my good friends, Pam and Kash. My good friends, but I've got to tell you, my conscience did not permit me to do this any longer. I had to step down. I had to step. I'm a man of honor. Il uomo di onore. I had to step down. Yep. That's exactly what happened. And he doesn't get his hands dirty. He doesn't have to do any heavy lifting. He's just the assistant. He's not really in there. So he realizes, I'm getting rid of this pop stand. Forget that. I'm blowing this joint. I'm out of here. And he comes across like, oh my God. Fox News is going to want him back. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, because if Trump gives him the stink eye, he's done. He's done with it. But anyway, but in terms of this, Steve Bannon loves him. Charlie Kirk, he wrote his ticket. A man whose integrity would not. Okay, you got with that. So he's going to come out the best. He's done. He's finished. There is nothing. Who wants to be the assistant anything in Washington? Now, Kash. Kash is like Operation Gladio. He's like the stay behind. He's neutered, crushed, looks like a goddamn fool, looks weirder now. And I'm not trying to be weird, but I mean just in terms of his personal. It's one thing you could stand up. You can be, you can move. John Paul Sartre had a funny eye as well, and others is. And there's a lot of other people who, believe it or not, we don't care what you look like. I know you may not think so, but there's a lot of people out there who have interesting aspects, different countenances and visages, and he's one of them. But he right now has been neutered. He's staying behind to do the dirty work. He is there to appease Bibi and others, to do the right job, and just kind of sit and watch FBI. Now, who the next DOJ person is? Pam Bondi never understood. Bill Barr didn't do it. Merrick Garland. The DOJ, she thought she could, like she was the star, like she was the, DOJ Barbie, or here, I hate to keep using that word. Is it sexist? Well, I don't know. You do. But she didn't really understand this. She just loved being, wow. And that's what happens when you take somebody who's never been in that position and you put him in this position. You see, that's Trump's problem. Trump loves cool, hot, pretty, smart, handsome, jacked, Trump is a guy who loves alpha male UFC stuff. UFC is the most, let's face it, not so much the fighters, but the crowd. It's a bunch of little infantile little boys. And I say that with all due respect. You know, you can beat up this guy. I mean, you know what I mean? And listen, it's a free country. But I, as the president of the United States, I'm not going to show up and go to the UFC. Conor McGregor. You know who Conor McGregor is? You know his... See, these people... I'm just going to throw some names out. Tate brothers, Conor McGregor. Just throw these names out. Do they know who these people are? Apparently not. The president should have nothing to do with this. But that's neither here nor there. The tumor now is not stuff. You better hope to God it doesn't spread to organs. It's out. Brunel, that guy. The women coming forward. You're going to see them come forward, and all of these NDAs. And let me tell you something. The people, the names. Let me leave you with this one. I love when people say, what I'm hearing. See, that's always been a path. You can just go on and just say, sources tell me. Well, I can't tell you who they are because they don't exist. I'm just making them up. But I have heard, and I am talking to, and I have been a part of, these Zooms and whatever you want to call them. We used to have these conference calls. Remember that in the old days? Now there's Zoom meetings. And everybody that I know, well, seems like everybody in Washington says, oh, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. The names. See, when you go to Washington or talk to them in that world, they all say, oh, yeah, boom, boom. In Washington, they were saying that Joe Biden wasn't the president for years. I mean, everybody knew it. Like he wasn't literally president. He wasn't at the White House. He wasn't even there. He was in Rehoboth Beach or whatever. They know this. It's just like in Hollywood. I know this is a weird example, but just as an example. Everybody knows the actors and actresses, but actors for the most part, who are gay and been gay and are gay. Notorious, flamboyant, open, notorious. But they just know it. They know who's who and this and that. And who, I mean, it's just understood. It's just understood. But it never gets out. It never traverses that blood-brain barrier. The names who are shitting bricks, sweating bullets, who think, I have for years been a very high position member of this organization. I've got the dirt on everybody else. You can't touch me. I've been the good soldier. I've been the one who for years, I'm the one who, you can't tell me anything. How dare you, after my decades of service or my power, I'm the kingmaker. You can't touch me. Well, yeah? Watch what happens. Just remember, take like a class picture and just start putting the X's in the names. Who falls from this? And they will give, the first thing you learn is there's a sacrificial lamb. They want to say, whom do we jettison first? Whom do we get rid of first? Whom do we toss first? Whom do we... That is the most important. That is the most important. People have to realize this. They have to recognize how serious this is. And they must realize once and for all how critical it is for people to understand and to grasp that this is bigger than anything. That you've got Trump, you've got people who are saying, make this go away. You've got countries, you've got folks, and you've got right now, and dare I say it, you've got our good friends in high places in Israel right now wondering what, and we've got defense appropriations. Do you notice how, and this is the most telling, how the Democrats are saying nothing about this? Nothing. First of all, they have their own people to worry about, but it's almost like, don't make this go away. Who really fears this the most? For whom is this all about? What's this all about, Alfie? What's this really about? Is it about Trump? Is it about international predation? Is it about Epstein? Or is it about this other connection that nobody talks about? Ehud Barak, Les Wexner, Epstein. And by the way, I only mention Dershowitz because his name as Epstein's lawyer involved, and he says, I know these names. Remember that? I don't know what that was about. And where are all of these, where are these tapes and hard drives? Are there copies? Are they still in existence? Who has them? And people are going to ask, what is the attorney-client privilege? Remember, there's that crime, fraud, whatever exception, that a lawyer cannot claim an exception to the or can claim an exception to the attorney-client privilege. The fraud crime exception to the attorney-client privilege. There's this idea that you can claim an attorney-client privilege. And by the way, the question has to be also, what attorney-client privileges survive the death of the client, survive the relationship? But in any event, that's another story. But if ever you can say, wait a minute, crime fraud exception is something you got to worry about. This means this allows for the disclosure and the mandatory disclosure of otherwise protected information between a lawyer and a client when those communications were intended to either facilitate or conceal a crime or a fraud or involve people themselves. I cannot conspire with my client to traffic in cocaine and then use the attorney-client privilege because I'm a co-conspirator. Anyway, so people are going to be peering through this stuff. I mean, believe me, this cancer right now it's about to spread. And the president really never understood this. So Bondi out, Bongino out, quits, but elevated through an apotheosis to a status he's never even experienced before. Kash Patel, he's there as a stay-behind, as a limp, impotent, wounded figurehead just to follow orders because somebody's got to stay back. Just like you've got to have somebody in the counting cage in Vegas to do the skim when they did it. You need somebody still there to keep an eye on stuff. And he will be impotent. It will be. Remember, listen to the Democrats. Listen how quiet they are. Why aren't they pouncing on this? The real reason is who owns both the Democrats and the Republicans? Do the math. So let's stick to this. My friends, this didn't have to be. This didn't have to be. And it all goes back to either Pamela Joe, who was either encouraged to do this, she did the sua sponte on her own, but she brought it up. Remember that line from Jack Reacher when, I think, when Tom Cruise said, remember, you wanted this. You wanted to bring this up. Now, I've given you a lot to munch on, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be talking more about this. I never saw this coming. I thought it was one of those ones where, well, we're going to move on. Oh, no. Oh, no. And don't think for a moment Elon's not feeding that tumor, feeding it, keeping it festering, because remember, Elon does the best when there's catastrophe, which is always the case. Remember, destabilization, kind of a, dare I say, this Hegelian dialectic theory, so to speak. We love destabilization. Please like this video. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you hit that little bell to be notified of live streams and new videos. And make sure also, which is very, very critical, very critical, make sure that you do other things as well. But also make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And I've got some questions for you to comment as you see fit.